Okay, start with Tony,
Here.
Nancy,
Here.
Vivian,
Here.
Brad,
Here.
Jan,
Here.
Paul.
Here. All right. One addition that Vivian just brought up is we left off the pay for legal counsel for Jim. Do we have an invoice?
Y'all approved it, this is nothing new, this is, you approved it almost like 2 meetings ago, I just never got to check.
So it's already been approved, just need to
Right.
check. Okay, then that does not apply here. I'll scratch that.
Give me 10%, buddy, I'll get you a check.
All right, the corrections, remember that item A was actually $769, and that's being credited on the next statement. And I'm going through the consent agenda here. G, we're going to proceed with paying that. We determined we do owe that at this point. N, we've tabled it until we can clarify whether our people truly make those requests. It's on that page. V, we've struck altogether. W, we've placed under new business. V, we've tabled checking with next 21. And I skipped, I'm sorry. X is under old and unfinished business. Y, we're checking with next 21. Z, we are going to confirm whether some of those charges have already been paid, so we're tabling that. Double A, we struck that. I attempted to make a call just to verify that it was actually a legitimate business, and it is a business, so I will call them tomorrow during business hours and see what's going on with that. AB, we put under older unfinished business, and then AC does not require any action on our part, so it's got a line with it. Any further additions or corrections?
The evidence back.
You know, the searching.
We put it under new business.
That's under new business on item A. What's the council's wish?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda with the changes made.
I'll second that.
No.
Take your time, Carol. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Who motioned?
Jan, I second it. Is there any discussion?
To accept. With changes.
Yeah, with changes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Department? No, we got to,
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
just amend the consent agenda. All right, considering the consent agenda, what's the council's wish?
I think we still left unfinished the issue of the change in or the George Pickers' job description and title, which is deferred, I believe, to this meeting.
Okay,
Do we have anything new on it?
well, we're on the consent agenda right now.
We already just approved the consent agenda and paid it.
I didn't put it
Did
on
we?
here, I didn't think about it, y'all
Yeah.
tabled it, y'all had tabled it the last time that I remember.
Stop myself, absolutely. You're absolutely right. My mind is 40 different places. Yes, we did say that we were going to table that. George, what were your concerns about, I'm struggling to remember. The concerns that you expressed to me regarding,
So there was some language
Hey,
issues.
before you go there, don't we just need to add that back into the agenda and then approve the agenda and then just add it in as old business?
if we're prepared to look at it again,
I know,
let's add it under 7. And George, we will circle back around, give you an opportunity to express your concerns. That is the code enforcement officer.
the last letter we were talking about, somebody wanted to make changes to the paperwork.
All right.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
To
Approve the agenda as
It's
amended.
amended. Is there any discussion? The motion is to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carried. Next listed, we have department business. George, we'll start with you.
Oh, by the way, it's not my resignation.
Don't you dare. Thank you.
We'll pass it down.
What this is a copy, it's from my expenses from when we had to put my vehicle in the shop. So it's in the shop for about 2 weeks, so that's going to cover the mileage from my personal vehicle. And you'll also see another one down there with a copy on the back that shows a copy of the receipts for where I purchased brake pads and stuff to put on my car. It started squealing and wanted to go ahead and do something about that prior to messing up the rotors and spending more money to do the necessary repairs. So I apologize for doing it ahead of meeting with you guys, but I felt the need that it needed to be taken care of. And you can pay me, or you can say,
So you bought these and installed them yourself?
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
well,
Actually, under the shed. But I wanted to prevent damaging the rotors. For some reason, the squealer was, had been pulled back or something, and it didn't give me the squealer, it just started giving the scrubbing sound, so I checked it, and it got down metal to metal, so I went ahead and took care of it. I didn't want to get it cause more damage, it cost more money to the city. I already kind of stretched my maintenance budget with the transfer case.
I told George I appreciated his initiative in going on and repairing the vehicle, but I followed that up with the liability that goes along with him making the repairs himself, not only injuring himself while he's doing the repairs, but having a certified mechanic making the repairs to the car. That is what it is, but thank you for making the repairs.
Can I make a motion that we pay this $353.54 reimbursement to
I'll second that.
And you can see the line I drew in there, I took the taxes off, I paid the taxes. I'm not asking for one, I just crossed them out, I just want to make sure y'all know that. But when you look at the receipt, you'll see that it shows taxes back to so.
Well, just don't make a habit of it, I just don't put it in my head.
I'm not, I wouldn't have done it if it hadn't been, if it'd been a squealer, we would have waited, but with it being metal, I felt the need to keep running my maintenance. With the transfer case, it kind of threw my budget out of whack.
I can't fuss at Eddie if I don't fuss at you.
Well, I apologize. Are we ready?
Nope.
Almost.
Amend the motion to 358.03.
I'll still second that.
Yeah.
Oh, three.
Oh, wait, I'm missing some more.
40 cents.
How much?
Additional 40 cents, where's that coming?
Over here.
Over here, for the fix.
So,
Okay.
358.
So we're going
Now
for the third total.
we're gonna go 359.20.
And that's to include the taxes that is paid, it's not paid to the DBI.
Well, I appreciate it, thank you.
Do I hear once? Do I hear twice?
Yes, she made the motion, I seconded the
Okay.
amended motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor of paying a total of
359.20.
$359.20 to reimburse George for these expenses, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Wasn't looking for the taxes. I knew that the town does pay it, but like I said, I wanted to go ahead and get that taken care of. Going into my report, as you've seen the roads go in, you've seen the paving go through the community. And so we've been, working with those things diligently with the, contractors. We've started, 8 permits with 8 more coming. This month, I'll have over $15,000 income coming into the town, from permits and business license. And I've got 8 more coming. They've already contacted me with 8 more starts. They already have 4 pre-sales and they haven't done anything to put some concrete on the ground. So those pre-sales are actually going to be on lots that don't have work on them at this time. So those are going to be some additional starts that will kick in behind the original. They told me 15, they're going to 16 plus the 4 pre-sales. So we're starting to see plenty of get started from the rain event to slow the projects down. Had to put up a couple stop works just recently. We're working through those and had quite a few inspections dealing with the new starts out here, which is good. I was getting kind of bored and chasing people trying to find somebody to get a $37 license out of them because we're at the half year. So everything there's going well. Just recently, last week, I received a call from the Ethics Commission. And one of the things that I was informed of during that conversation was, in the event that there is a violation or a notification to your superiors, you only have 10 days to report that to the Ethics Commission. And it's up to them to determine if it's a true full Ethics Commission or not. So just from my position to make sure to pass that information on to you, because I didn't know it. And he gave me a sample, because I used to be over the Public Works Department. He told me that one of my men was cutting grass that day and had a lawnmower on the trailer, and he drove the truck home for lunch, but he lived in town. And he pulled that lawnmower off and cut his grass and put it back on while he was off for lunch. That's an ethical violation, and I would, as soon as I found out about it, I only had 10 days to report it. Or if anybody else saw him, even someone that's not covered under, where we all have to fill out those annual reports. Even an individual person, if they reported it to me and I didn't report it to ethics, they have so many days to report that situation to ethics. So we need to be diligent for what we do, making sure that if we see things going on, we're trying to prevent it. One, we want to try and prevent it from happening, but if it does happen, we need to make sure that they are notified to keep them off of all of our hind ends. So.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe I misunderstood this notes. If you see an ethical violation, you take it straight to the Ethics Commission?
No, ma'am.
Or do you?
With me, I can, or which I would go and speak to the mayor. He's my immediate supervisor, and then he has 10 days once I notify him to contact the ethics board and let them know what happened.
That starts another 10 days when you contact me?
Well, yes, 10 days from the day you're contacted, you have 10 days to notify them. And then if you don't do that then and contact them, then I'm responsible for following up and making sure that it's handled and contacted. Now, we don't all know what ethical violations are. because they're so detail oriented in so many different directions. So if we actually see something that we're not sure, we can still notify them. They will notify us and let us know whether or not it is. I got contacted and asked several questions in another situation, and that was given to me as an example of that 10-day and how low on the totem pole that those complaints or ethical violations go to where someone can get into to have issues with those types of situations. So I just wanted to bring that information to y'all, let you know that if you see it, you know, we have a responsibility as people that are covered under the having to do those annual reports. They're going to look harder at us because we're supposed to be taking those little, you sit down in front of the computer and listen to them tell you what you can and can't do. And but if you have it, it's as simple as a worker that doesn't even have to fill them out, doesn't have to even contact them. If that person makes a mistake, somebody tells on him, you got to report it. If you don't report it, they can report you for not doing the report. And then you got two problems because one, they're going to want to know what you did for disciplinary actions to prevent it from happening again, and then two, why did you not contact me in my 10-day period? So, but I just wanted to bring that information. I've been in this for 32 years and had no clue that was like that. And when I was informed of that, I was like, well, I need to let my guys know what's happening. So
That was gonna be my next question. If you came aware of something like that and you brought it to the mayor or to the council, we have the opportunity and responsibility to correct it.
yes,
And report it.
and report it. Yes, ma'am.
Well, my question would be, if us as members of the council, we are the governing authority, so would it be that we would just go, did you pick up that it would be our responsibility to go straight to the ethics?
Well, you as council members, if you see it as a council person,
Right, we would just
you
go
don't,
straight
you
to
don't,
them.
yeah, because you don't have a supervisor.
Right, that's that,
Yeah,
okay.
and so you would typically go to your supervisor.
But
And
we
if you
don't
don't
have-
feel like that's handled, then then it can come back on you. If nothing happened, then you obviously have to go and report it yourself.
And then if we were wrong, nothing would ever come of it. Because
Right, if
they
it's
would
a
look into
if it's a
it.
non-issue, they're gonna let you know that it's a non-issue.
But we cover,
But
if
you have to cover
it's
yourself.
me, I've covered myself by
That's
doing the
correct.
report.
Right.
Any other questions for George? Thank you, George.
One other thing, if you get around to the bids, I'd like to speak to council before you vote on the septic system, if that comes up tonight. I have several concerns, and I had several phone calls from bidders.
Okay, we didn't put that on the agenda, but we talked about it in the last meeting, and I think we should have gotten sealed bids.
We've gotten one. You have gotten any more than the one, Carol?
What?
Sealed bids
Sealed
on the
bids.
septic.
That's the one I gave you.
Yeah.
We've got one sealed
And
bid.
that's some of the reason why I wanted to discuss the things that, I had several phone calls from different bidders of concerns, the way the thing went on, and I needed to, I want to inform the council about it, go over that. If y'all do that tonight.
All right, thank you, George. You're welcome. Moving on, Police Department, report from Eddie.
For the month of August, we had 1 arrest from NCIC warrants, 7 assists or contacts, 43 calls in the corporate limits, 11 calls in the police jurisdiction, 12 calls outside the jurisdiction, 1 drug arrest, 7 false alarm calls, 8 incident offense reports taken, drove a total of 3,994.3 miles, wrote 1 non-traffic citation, had 1 on-view arrest, 21 outside agency assists, 1 traffic accident, 30 traffic citations, 31 traffic stops, 1 warrant check, and 1 warrant served.
Questions for Chief?
Eddie, I noticed you're not wearing the body cam.
This is in my car, charger.
I have a question for you. Could you give us a little more details of the rear-ending incident?
I was coming back from the Chiefs conference, coming into Alabaster on I-65. Like told the officer that worked the wreck, I was trying to maintain a safe distance from the vehicle in front of me. Car comes to my right, cuts over in front of me, then all of a sudden traffic stops. I didn't hit the car in front of me, but I got hit by a little 16-year-old girl from Indiana that's been driving 2 or 3 weeks. She just didn't have the response time that she needed to break.
Any damage at all to the car? Nothing need to be buffed or?
I've already took care of it, so Saturday morning I got in there, I buffered, and looks like it never was hit.
Is it standard protocol? Okay. It's standard protocol when an officer is in an accident that they have a drug test?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. It's required. If they fall down the stairs, it's in for a drug test.
And that wouldn't just be an officer, Nancy,
No.
that's usual. Anybody driving a company vehicle would have to do the same thing if you're involved in an accident, at fault or not fault.
It's one of the-
Did the mayor give you permission to drive the company car to the conference?
Yes, ma'am. And I was on duty.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Carol report. Okay.
Not available.
How about town clerk?
Not available.
Thank you. How about Jim? Any report from the attorney?
I haven't done much since the last meeting. I'll answer your questions from that.
I have a question for you. It had come to my attention that we actually needed, in the last meeting, we voted on the new gas tax stuff. And we did vote on it, but it's come to my attention, we should have had a resolution. Can you get one of those resolutions drafted up so we can get that taken care of?
You can do what I can find it up, but you can do that.
Yeah, we gotta have one for the bank, but.
But I can do the written resolution,
now.
but if you want to not delay, you can approve
I'm
it.
trying to have, me personally, if everybody else wants to do it, I prefer to have it in hand and read it.
Since we're not buying.
I'll do it the next time. I actually thought that we did the resolution last time.
We did not.
And what was that piece of paper we all signed in? Did you want the resolution?
That wasn't a resolution.
That wasn't a
was
resolution.
Plan. That was the,
Special waiver.
the road plan.
Understood.
Any other questions for Jim? All right, older unfinished business. First item here is hiring a town clerk.
Do we need to go in executive session? Is anybody willing to do that, to go over the person that we interviewed?
Back in session at 7:31.
I'd like to make a motion that we hire Ms. Crystal Sellers pending a background check and drug screen for the, and check the references for the position of town clerk.
Okay, wait a minute. Our Crystal who?
Sellers, S-E-L-L-A-R-S.
pending,
Background,
Background.
drug, reference checks.
background, drug. She. Okay. Hang on a second.
I'll second that. All right, we have a motion to hire Crystal Sellers. You want to amend that? Since that's not standard.
With a 90-day probationary period.
The reason we're doing that is that's not standard, so. All right, so the motion is that we hire Crystal Sellers pending reference check, drug screen, and background screenings being successful, based on a 90-day probation period. Discussion? We're going to do individuals. Roll call, please.
Brad,
Yes.
Nancy,
Augustine?
Tony,
No.
Vivian,
No.
Jan,
Yes.
Paul.
Yes. Motion carries.
Before we move on, I'd like to make another motion, please, that we authorize, exactly know how to put it, that we authorize up to $50 an hour, up to 5 hours per week for someone from Don Wallace's firm to come over and assist us.
Count those numbers for us. Up to $50.
Up to $50 an hour, up to 5 hours per week.
Or how long?
It's 2 months, at least 60 days.
60 days,
We're that far behind and we need the help.
okay. Yeah. All right.
Hopefully we'll be able to get somebody for $25 an hour, but we may not, so.
I'll second that. So the motion is.
Excuse me, you want to limit that just to someone from this firm?
For now, yes.
The motion is that we contact Don Wallace to get assistance from his office for up to $50 per hour, up to 5 hours per week, at this point, up to 60 days, to help us get a hold on the finances so that the budget and finance, well, that's way more than you
Yeah,
said.
but this is not training, this is strictly doing the work.
Yeah, this is getting the numbers
I am not
out.
qualified to train anyone.
Okay.
All right, any discussion on this motion? All those,
Carol, in answer to your comment, we can discuss training. but-
we have a motion on the floor that we contact Don Wallace to get assistance up to $50 an hour, up to 5 hours per week, up to 60 days at this point. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Who's going to talk to Mr. Wallace?
I can do it. I'm off. I will contact Mr. Wallace.
Please send us an email when that conversation is taking place and
Absolutely.
tell us what he says, please.
Report to council. All right. Municipal election calendar. We are running headlong into the election cycle. Did you request that to be put on the agenda?
I did, I just set it on there, if anybody needs a copy, I can make you a copy of it, but, because I had to tear it apart to get the copies. That's the one
That's
I
right, that
wrote.
was that.
So fold out, and I had to tear it up.
Thank you, Carol. All right, right, continuing in all the unfinished business, we've got the Rebuild Alabama. We do need a resolution to set up the bank account, and as we talked about earlier, we're going to push that back until next month. We're not in a bind, the money's not going to be released until the first of the year. That gives us time to get the resolution passed to correct the account that the money flows into. Was there anything else on Rebuild Alabama that the council wanted to discuss? All right, next item was awning concepts. Moved over from the consent agenda. The second page. This is a bid that was received July 1st of this year. The bid is for $2,800 to replace the awning that's above the porch that comes off the back of the police department, but also is the watershed for this patio out here.
I make a motion, we table that until the finances are more clear.
I'll second that. All right, the motion is that we table all any concepts bid or any consideration for the watershed over the patio until we have a budget, or at least a firm grasp on our budget. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Code Enforcement Officer. We spoke briefly a few minutes ago about rewording the ordinance creating this position. I have not worked on that. Jim,
My recollection is at the last meeting, you all had a discussion, if there was not an agreement about the provisions of it, and you just sort of moved on. So I don't remember any specific direction regarding that, other than you were going to consider and discuss it with the building inspector.
I'm going to make a motion that we can table it once more. We obviously have not prepared anything to, including that, we don't even have the ordinance here with us tonight, so that's my thought. I make a motion we table that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? The motion is that we table the vote on the Code Enforcement Officer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. New business, we have a proposal from VTech. Item W from your consent agenda. That's $6,843.74 to upgrade us from Windows 7, which of course is expiring and no longer having patches made for the software, to Windows 10. I make a motion.
Carol, are you seeing problems with the software and the,
7?
yeah?
Not yet. It's slow. I just know that it's very slow.
I make a motion that we, in the same fashion as the others, table that until we have a more firm idea on our budget.
Second.
All right, the motion is that we push this consideration off as well until we have an idea of our budget. Any discussion?
Who's second? I did.
Tone.
Tone.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have a invoice or a proposal in the amount of $160.95 from the Searchy Company for evidence bags for the police department.
Is this a new vendor or?
Same one we've always used.
Yeah.
How many evidence, what's the quantity on the stuff here?
Oh, 4 by 7.500, on the 4 by 7.5, 100 on 7.5 by 10.5. Doesn't say how many on the 9 by 12s, and 12 by 15.5 is 100 of them.
Probably 100 on all of them.
Eddie, when was the last time we ordered these? That, I don't,
Last time we got those bags was probably 10 years ago. I got some grant for 20,000 and we ordered everything. That's, we got quite a few back then, so.
I knew we had them, but never remembered ever purchasing them, so that's why. I make a motion that we approve the $160.95 for purchase of the evidence bags.
A second.
Myself and Tony and Carol. Any discussion? Those in favor of purchasing the evidence bags for $160.95 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
We didn't put in new business, but we do have sealed bids, and I think George had something he wanted to. So before we open sealed bids, if we're going to do that tonight, are we going to do that tonight? Do we have more than one bid?
We have one bid, and we have sustaining bids from the individuals that had bid previously. I believe there's two that have said we'll honor the bid that we made earlier.
Can I make
recall
one
those were
statement
at that time.
about the bids?
Absolutely.
When we had somebody present us a bid for a different project, and there was only one bid, I requested other bids. I felt like we should at least have 3, and at that time, 4 of the council members did not feel that it was necessary because that bid was already out there, and then you had other people that could underbid them just to get the job. And that set a precedence of this council. That's the way after the bids were open. And we did have, when there was modifications to what the health department, we did go back to the people that had put in the bids to see if they would honor the bid or ask. And we had 2 that would honor their bids. At that time, due to the precedence we set before, we should have not opened it because this council said after it was opened, that gave somebody else the opportunity. I have no idea who's bid, who hadn't bid, if their bids are $100,000 more or $100,000 less. I just feel like when you set a precedence and you go forward, that's the way you stay. And I think we did wrong by saying that we would accept, and when we said that in the workshop that night, is we would accept 3 bids. Because Tony had 3 people. We didn't vote to open up the bids to everybody. As a matter of fact, if we pull the records, we didn't vote to open the bids. So we're kind of here over talking ourselves because we didn't do proper protocol if we were gonna open the bids for everybody and do it. But it was a discussion at workshop, but we'd already set a precedence. So we need to think about how we're gonna do our business and if we're gonna do it correctly or not. But I don't think it's exactly appropriate for the people that did work on bids that gave the town bids to begin with.
I agree. I think our entire process here has been crap. Initially, when we were talking about the cost of the septic system, what was asked in the meetings was for just an estimate of the cost of the septic system. I don't remember the council ever approving anything about sealed bids. Next thing I knew, we were sitting up here and people were opening sealed bids, and I can't say that the sealed bid process was given to everybody because even the council members didn't know we were getting sealed bids. So I can't believe that everybody had an opportunity to bid because obviously not everybody knew. So we got sealed bids when what we asked for were estimates of the cost. So, yeah, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot at that point because Keith Hager in the workshop meeting, he said that he thought that the cost of a septic system to replace the one we were losing would be about $15,000. In my opinion, we have still not properly asked for sealed bids. My understanding was that, well, let me put it this way. If I got a building permit for a house, and the house was 2,000 square feet, it was 2-story, and it had a three-car garage, and I put that out there for bids, I could get everything from $1,000 to $1 million, because I have not given a item by item exactly what must be included in that bid. And you're not comparing apples to apples if some people are quoting a 3-bedroom house and some people are quoting a 9-bedroom house. So I don't feel like we have done justice to the people that have bid. I think that, yes, there is the possibility that somebody could come in and underbid them. But then again, since we didn't stipulate exactly what had to be included in every bill, I don't want somebody to bid a certain amount on something and then us come back later and say, but you didn't do this, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do this, and we expect you to do that, and we expect you to put it in the cost, and we're not going to pay you for it. So, yeah, I've got some real concerns about the whole bid process. We have had Keith Hager do some work toward getting us a septic system application that was approved. I would like to make a motion at this point that we also have Keith Hager contact the sewer provider to get us a quote in writing of what it would take to connect these buildings to the sewer system. And at his regular rate of pay, and I'd like to have that back to us within, what's today, the 12th, by the end of the month, maybe.
Motion to have Keith Hager to
Contact the sewer provider to get us a written quote for the cost of connection and ongoing monthly expense. Sorry.
Keith Hager to contact sewer provider.
Right.
That's it.
Yes, to get us a quote.
Okay.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and second that we request Keith Hager, the town engineer, to contact the sewer provider to request a proposal for attaching town hall to the sewer. There has been constant issues with the sewer provider and his relationship with the customers that are on the sewer now. I have overwhelming input from residents that are currently attached to the sewer, pleading with the council not to tie the city into any obligation to the sewer provider. So my vote today, my vote tomorrow will be not to move forward with anything dealing with the sewer provider.
On the same hand, I have reservations about going after a septic system application, but there are, as Jan has pointed out numerous times, we need, in order to make an informed decision, we need information of our options. And one of our options seems to be the septic system. The other option seems to be the sewer system. And I would like to have firm numbers from an engineer who would, I'm assuming, talk to an engineer and get us firm numbers. And once we get the quote, then some point in the future, make we would have to vote on which route to go.
All right, again, the motion is that we contact Keith Hager to request a quote on attaching the municipal building to the sanitary sewer. Any further discussion from the council? Let's do a roll call vote, please, Carol.
Tony Brady,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Vivian,
Yes.
Brad,
No.
Jan,
I will vote yes to get that bid.
Paul.
No. Motion carries.
I'd like to make another motion. Say when.
Okay.
I would like to authorize Keith Hager to put together a list of specifications
Specifications.
for the septic system installation.
For septic tank.
Yes, septic system installation.
Okay.
And that George review that list and concur.
Okay.
And then we seek sealed bids.
My thing with that
What was the last
is,
part?
Then we seek sealed bids and we don't open any more bids or publish any more money, so that there's, you know,
Okay.
I mean, we messed up. We know we messed up. I don't know any other way to fix it.
Who's seconding this?
I'll second, okay.
Okay, baby, go ahead.
I'll second it, but I want you to read it one more time, see if I got this right.
Authorize Keith Hager to put together a list of specifications for septic system installation and George to review and concur and seek sealed bids.
Good.
I would add the word plans to that, plans and specifications.
What is it?
well,
Same thing except plans and specifications.
I have one little bit of problem with this. Okay. Your Tuscaloosa County Health Department is the one that gave you the specs. They don't give the specs on it when they give that drawing?
In
No?
general.
Okay.
George,
Permits, all
did
this.
you say something, George?
Okay.
Well, the reason that I asked to speak to council about getting into the voting as far as the septic system goes. During that process, I was the contact person, and I had multiple communications with several different vendors wanting to bid on the project. There are details that the health department put in the plan that you have to have this many feet of this. They have details about the size of the tanks and stuff that this information was provided by Keith, and they reviewed it and they agreed and approved the permit. The problem is the plans have inconsistencies and they do not have a scope of work. There's nothing in there that says who's going to put the electrical out there. I had a call that said, oh, well, your pump station is existing because it only shows on the drawings a little round circle. Another one called and asked because the force main runs from the pump station up to above the field lines, and asked, was there supposed to be a distribution box which diverts the sewer to go to each individual line? Because there are no crossovers shown in the drawings to run from septic tank field line, from field line to field line to field line. And without, the permit's good, there's not any problem there, but there was never prepared by Keith a scope of work saying these items have to be done, and the city's gonna do, or the town's gonna do this, but you gotta do this and this and this and this. There's nothing in there that says that you gotta put seed and straw down after you disturb the ground, and that's a requirement by the town. There's nothing that says that you gotta add crossovers to those field lines as they're drawn in individually. There's nothing that says that that pump station has to be installed as a new pump station. Like I said, there was confusion that says that that pump station is existing. So with all of the different and multiple questions that came in, I intended to request to the council that they do away with every bit of the bids. Don't open any more bids. We don't need to get into any more issues. We need to get a scope of work that defines what needs to be done to fill in the gaps for the items that are not shown on the plan. And who's going to do the electrical work? How far does the company that installs run the electrical work? There's been a lot of discussion because the tanks right now show continue going toward the road, and they need to be turned to the right. And without all of those details being identified in the scope of work, these bidders don't know what to do, what not to do, and what's expected. As I explained to a contractor today, someone could come in and bid that drawing. And I'm just going to I'll just say, and I'll use Mike as an example. They could come in and underbid his original price by $3,000 or $4,000 because that pump station cost that much. And if they assumed that that pump station was existing, they came in and based on our plans, and since it doesn't say that you have to put that in under scope of work, they can put the field lines in, no crossovers, run a force main from the septic tanks over there, and expect to get paid. And we put in a half of a system. It's not fair to Mike, it's not fair for multiple other people to not have a scope of work, so everybody's bidding apples to apples, not apples to oranges or apples to peaches.
Well, George, my concern is that if we don't specify exactly what we want the contractors to put in their
That's the
bid.
scope of work that goes with the permit.
Well, that's, I'm afraid that somebody will give us a bid and then they'll come back later and say, well,
They're gonna hit us with
this
change orders.
more, yeah. And
We'll be obligated.
We'll be, yeah.
Right, if they came in, if that gentleman, or not gentleman, that company came in and put it in without the information saying that you have to put that pump in, and underbids it $10,000. He comes out and does that, and you go, oh, wait a minute, you're not done. Well, now all of a sudden, he's gonna make his money back up, he or she or whatever. That company's gonna make their money up even more, because now they put part of it in, and then Mr. Fisher is not going to want to come put the pump in because he's going to be responsible for the field lines if he puts that pump in.
George, excuse me for cutting you off. I think we've got the concept on how important this is. Let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be necessary to string this thing out further. You got your thumb on D.R. Horton's pulse. This is going to be something that you're going to be able to continue to.
I can work with that, and then also at one time, I mean, several months ago, I had one of the contractors out there that was willing. Of course, I don't care if we go sewer or we go septic. I just think if we're going to do septic, I think it needs to be fair to all of the bidders, including Mike and what's his name? Wes, and then also Squirrel and anybody else that bids, and that we don't lose bids because of the inconsistencies. I think that it's a good idea to get Keith to actually establish both things, to give the council the opportunity to read both ways and make the best decision for the town.
I agree.
So you think that needs to come from Keith?
Yes.
Yeah, and then just like with Jan talking about the process, we need to be more diligent in following the guidelines that are set out for the bidding processes to make it right the first time. And those bids need to be sealed, delivered on a certain day, opening day set and time, reviews done, and then recommendations to the council.
Thank you, George. Any other discussion from the bench? All right, again, restate the motion for us, Carol, please.
Authorize Keith Hager to put together a list of specifications for septic system installation and George to review and concur, then seek sealed bids, plans, and specifications.
Just add the claim before that first specifications as well.
You good, Carol?
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, let's do reports of committees. Planning and zoning.
I don't have anything tonight. Our next meeting is the 23rd, 7 o'clock.
23rd, 7 p.m. Budget and finance.
Yep, I like to
Yep.
read mine. I have been the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee for 2+ years. The committee has worked hard to provide accurate, timely, and useful information to the council for decision-making and forecasting. Since former town clerk Cheryl Self left in January, however, the committee has not gotten a single useful report and has not been able to provide data to the council. The council contracted with Cheryl in July to make corrections and update the financials. Cheryl did a great job with the limited access she had. I received the financial reports from Cheryl, but like the past 7 months, the entries for line items that just don't make any sense and are not explained. I'm not able with any certainty to report on the revenues received or expenses incurred over the last 7 months, or the current financial position of the town of Lakeview. Section 11-43-84 of the Code of Alabama requires that the mayor provide financial reports to the council at least every 6 months. The council is required to appropriate funds necessary to meet the obligations of the town. Also, according to the lead handbook for mayors and council members, it is customary that the mayor begin the budget development process at least 3 months prior to the beginning of the fiscal year, which is over 2 months ago. As chair of the committee, I would like to be able to report the town's financial position to the council and to the people of the town, and to assist the mayor and the council in meeting the obligations of the offices they hold. Until the council has someone in the town clerk job who has the knowledge, ability, and access to do the job, the Budget and Finance Committee will not be able to offer any assistance and will not hold meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. It is worth pointing out that that it is customary that the mayor begin that planning. It is not required at any point that it be started that early. However, you can't start too early. I just don't want things to be misunderstood.
I think the new budget is supposed to be in
Forgive me,
place on
Annette.
October 1.
Yes, that's right. It is supposed to be in October 1. You're absolutely right. And I, as mayor, am in the same shape that the rest of the council and the city are in. Without a clerk in the position, I can't generate the reports. And pointing fingers does no one any good. In that line, that's exactly why we have voted to get Don Laws to get us some support in here to generate those reports so we can get the Budget and Finance Committee back to work. Any questions for Annette from the council? Thank you for your report. Report from the GUSC. Police Relations.
Nothing at this time.
Activities Committee.
Yes, sir.
Board of Adjustments.
Fortunately, at this time, no business for the
No
board.
report. Fantastic. All right. With that, we'll go to public input. Same spiel as always. Stand up, be recognized, give us your name, your address, and you can have the floor.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to say one thing that I forgot to say on the floor a while ago.
Go ahead, Chief.
Tanya got a phone call from Mr. Bob's daughter a couple of days ago. He passed away this week.
That's right. That's Bob Soha, former building inspector here for the town. Thank you. for that, Eddie. I'm sorry I forgot that. Yes, sir. Who are you?
Mike Fisher, Broadway Drive, living in PJ. Anyway, I just want to thank the council for seeing that they done wrong on that bid process, because I wasn't gonna be that nice about how they said it. But anyway, and what George said is true also about the plans. They were, I ciphered my little pea brain, his help finally figured out. But anyway, y'all got it all hashed out anyway. But I was glad to see that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's, I had two engineers that are friends of mine that questioned how you could get an accurate bid from that drawing. Anybody else?
I'll stand up.
You don't have to stand
I
up.
got someone there. I want to compliment Tony Bragg. I've been reading your blog on your Facebook. Good post. Thank you. Everybody needs to read it.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Daniel Brooklyn Drive. Just wanted to point out that I've been working with the fire district and to somewhat lesser extent the police department and the club of Lakeview. Got with Chris Creek over at the club, and we're putting on a golf tournament to raise money for the fire district and the police department. We'll be putting that on October 5th. And right now, the big thing is we've actually got a couple other things involved with it. We're going to be selling some T-shirts, working on putting together a raffle basket for, obviously for raffle sales, with gift cards to all the local restaurants and whatnot in it. And the big thing we need is if anybody knows who to talk to, where they work, business owners they know, anything of that nature, the biggest thing for everything is to get as many sponsors as we can. The golf, we've already got more golfers than we can really handle at the club, according to Mr. Creek. And the golfers and their fees basically pay for everything. The money that's going to the fire department, the money that's going to the police department is going to be predominantly from those sponsorship activities. So getting whole sponsors and people who want to put banners with their business up and want to add, have their name on the T-shirts and, add to raffle items and gift bags. Those are the big things that are going to help us raise money to put, to get some new equipment for our first responders. So if anybody knows anybody, I'd appreciate it if you reach out to me or reach out to, reach out to Tanya up here at the police department and just let us know. Reach out to Fire Hall and let Janet Wilson know. She can get it back to me as well.
For those of you that don't know, it's the title of the tournament is a play on Guns N' Roses. It's called Guns N' Hoses, and robs from that logo. It's a good idea, and it's going to benefit our first responders a great deal.
Shouldn't the council approve that fundraiser? We're supposed to approve all that kind of stuff. As generous as it is, the council needs to approve any kind of fundraiser prior to it being held or even prior to it being planned.
It's not a town function. I'm basically going to be, I won't be, Chris Creek from the club will be showing up with a check to the police department. If the council decides that they do not want to vote in favor of cashing that check, I'm sure the fire department would be happy to take it.
Actually, I spoke to Chris, and that's not the way he's going to do it. He's going to find out what's needed and make the purchase.
He's going to make the purchase and donate the actual.
So that the money will be spent on the first responders directly.
Just keep that comment in mind that if, something like that is done, any fundraiser that somebody wants to do, that the council does need to be informed of it so that, we don't cross any lines.
I'm not sure what that would be based on. If I wanted to make a donation to the police department.
Well, as long as it's based on a donation.
Can I finish, Nancy?
Oh, no, will you?
If you'll stop interrupting. I waited for you to finish. Can I have the floor?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm not sure that if someone making a donation to the police department would need the approval of the council to make that donation. This is a private business. It has nothing to do with the council. It's not illegal. It's not anything that is, there are laws to prevent. He's having a golf tournament that he's done numerous times during this summer. This one is just going to benefit the first responders. But
and just so we're clear on that, that's part of the reason why I worked to set it up the way I did. I said the same thing with the fire board meeting on Tuesday. It was intentionally set up to not have town or official fire district involvement or resources. And I have some members some people who volunteer there who are helping me with it. But it was set up that way specifically so that their 501c doesn't have to, the regulations and stuff involving their 501c don't have to be involved. The municipal stuff doesn't have to be involved. It is a private business and a private citizen with some volunteers that are all getting together to try and raise money, and we're going to donate it.
My concern would be that most of the staff that work for the town of Lakeview are hourly, and if they are on the clock working toward the fundraiser, I see that as a problem. So as long as they're donating their time on their own time.
And that is the case. At least that's the case as far as I'm aware. I don't know. I'm not watching them clock in and out, but I'm not up here talking to them while they're on the clock. I'll tell you that much.
that is a genuine concern. Thank you, Dan. Anybody else?
Is it open to the public or?
Absolutely. The only thing is that he only has 24 golf carts.
Excuses.
So you got 48 golfers is all he can handle.
Thank you.
So sign up fast.
Ben Hudson, Mtg Drive. I'm not going to thank any of y'all because it seems like we took like 10 steps backwards tonight. I'm a little confused. I thought if I can call out Tony directly, because I think she said last meeting, whenever that was, that she was going to contact the sewer provider directly for bids, but somehow that gets pushed back onto the table, or, you know, hey, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Why don't you even say it to begin with? Because, hey, I'm one of the citizens that actually comes to these meetings and cares, and I remember these things, and I'll remember them next October. You see what I'm getting at? The other thing is, I mean, you keep tabling things, and everybody's just like, hey, let me table this, let me table that. Yeah, we don't have a town clerk. Like, you do aware that there's other days of the month that are scheduled that y'all can get together and communicate. There's texting, there's email. If you want to get on social media, you can get together and have meetings, especially called meetings in the time frame, and actually discuss these things besides wasting my time, wasting everybody's time to do an executive sessions, which I know y'all are a huge fan of. You're not going to irritate me. You're not. I'm standing right here and I'm going to address it to y'all and everything. I'm going to make everybody aware when it comes to election time exactly what you're doing. I mean, you're making it really easy. Everybody, what you're doing. I'm just confused because it seems like I thought we already made the decision to, hey, get the sewer out of this altogether and we're going to pursue the septic. And then you keep making excuses. Oh, yeah, no, we forgot to do this. Let's start over. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Does anybody know what they're doing up there? Do we got a town engineer telling us what to do? What, he forgets to tell us about a scope of work? That, hey, yeah, I totally agree with that. Somebody could undermine us and just get more money. Who wouldn't? I think we all know we love money. I know politics love money. That's the only thing we deal with these days. I'm just curious because coming in February of next year, there's going to be another sewer increase. I know there's only one member up there on the council that you pay sewer fees, or I don't know, remotely cares, or maybe some of the money goes towards that. But has anybody spoken with like the next agenda to, hey, what that time frame, or is the sewer rates going to go up again? What's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. Can I still not recommend anybody to move here? No, I can't. I had like a neighbor right across the street that got surprised at the bill the other day and asked me randomly after the blue, hey, what's the deal with this? I said, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Get ready. Everybody I speak to at work are like, you pay that much? Wait, that's your water included. No, that's my flat sewer rate. I just don't know. I know Nancy's the head of the GUS board, but I don't know what the GUS board even is, but if she has an answer, if she could, do we know if the rates are going to go up or anything, or any word at all?
I haven't had any word on that. I know the last time there was anything that we voted on anything, it was a rate schedule, and I don't remember how far out the rate schedule went.
I'd like to answer a couple of questions, because I just looked at the rate schedule this week.
You through?
Yeah.
It does go up in February 2020. I believe the rate schedule ends with February 2020, and it does go, it is planned right now, has been approved to go up February 2020. The reason that I made the motion that Keith deal with the sewer provider is because I have come in here a number of times with text messages, emails, primarily email messages, that have listed the rate schedule, and those have not been acceptable. I've been told that we need something official, and if it's going to be something official, more official than what I provided, then somebody official needs to go and ask for it, and that would, the most appropriate person who doesn't have a dog in this fight would be Keith. As far as whether or not we have made a decision on whether or not we're going to replace our system with sewer or septic, no, we have never had that vote. We have never had all the information that we have required in order to make an informed decision whether or not we will vote to connect to a septic system or a sewer system.
Yeah, just to note.
A number of things, you also mentioned things that have been tabled. I don't know if you noticed, but we did not get any financial reports tonight, nothing. We have no information about how much money we have in the bank. And Carol has done as much as we could possibly have asked her to do, trying to do 2 jobs in 32 hours a week and not get behind. We know she's been making deposits. She's got receipts for deposits. As far as sitting down with the SAGE system and entering all that stuff in there, she hasn't had time. So we're not going to approve a $7,000 computer upgrade when we don't know how much money we have. A number of the things that you also questioned about the bid process and that sort of thing, there are laws we have to follow. And they're time consuming.
Let me say, I could care less about your stupid upgrades to computers or any of that. I wasn't talking about tabling that. Aren't you the ones that approve a town clerk and hire one? And how long has it been since Cheryl's been gone?
We did.
Yeah, I have nothing against Carol. I feel bad for all the stuff she has to do 2 jobs. It's horrible. But yeah, you're the ones that make the decision to actually do this and not, you know? And I mean, I know it's going to go up in February. I meant past that, the future. That's easy. I mean, I can see that, but there's no word. I don't know what he's going to do. I know what he's done in the past, and it's kind of scary. I know for some reason we're still getting bids that maybe connect him to the city hall, which I swear, because that was a small victory that we agreed, and I forgot if we voted or something, but something was said, hey, we're not going to pursue the sewer anymore. We're going to pursue the septic. We're going to look at the numbers, fine. We're going to get bids, but the sewer's out of the question.
Ben, I agree with you. I feel like I was duped, Ben. I believe that's what I voted on as well. That's what the people of the city that I've spoken with believed it was a victory in the face of the ever increasing rates that people are paying. There are a number of things I question. I do have problems with the way we continue to make deposits, as we always have, and yet, now the $7,000 computer, I understand holding on that, but we have an hourly employee that works for the city and has almost since the day the city was incorporated, that had to pay for his own CEUs, and to this point, he's out of money from his pocket because we won't pay $200 or $300 to reimburse him for his trip to Montgomery. He had to pay it. I'm speaking. I'm still speaking. It was put to a motion, and it was denied.
Right. Make another motion.
Eddie, what's the amount on your?
I've got the bill at my card.
Go get it while I'm talking, please.
That was Bill Shores, Mayor, wasn't it?
We make the motion after we get our financials.
But I agree with you, and I'm frustrated as well.
May I say something?
Sure, Vicky, go ahead.
Okay, Ben, I emailed the mayor and also texted the mayor and the council on Monday, the 26th, to see if we were gonna have a special meeting that we talked about prior for the 29th. I did not get any kind of response whatsoever. I didn't know if the meeting was gonna be or not, so I didn't come. And then it's posted on social media that we didn't show, okay? Well, if you can't have communication between this council, how do you expect us to serve y'all? That's my complaint.
Mr. Mayor, I got a quick question for you real quick.
I'll let Dennis.
Again, you're making this way too easy for me. At the end of that first meeting, didn't the mayor say at the exact same time, the date, so I can put it into my Google Calendar, 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have another meeting because we cannot come to a conclusion?
Yes.
I heard it. Simple as that. Did I hear anybody say, no, I gotta check.
Citizens were here.
I gotta
I've
check my
got it
calendar.
recorded. I've got it recorded. It was said, it was a tentatively scheduled meeting. I even said at that meeting, I do not have my calendar. And the mayor specifically said, I will send the notice. I didn't get the notice, I didn't come, Vivian didn't come, Nancy didn't come, the attorney didn't come. Kind of a moot point at this point, but yes, we could have a meeting if we needed to have a meeting.
I think it's a
And I
good
was
point,
the
I think.
person that made the motion that we pursue just getting and finding out if we could get an approved septic system application. I was very specific in the motion that what I was making the motion for was that we pursue getting an approved septic system application. Because until we get an approved septic system application, trying to make a decision between septic and sewer is a ridiculous conversation. Now that we have an approved septic system application, we can move further ahead and come to a decision. Hopefully before we all grow old and die.
Anything else, Ben?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's the question I had for you. For 2 questions. First one should be pretty easy. Has this piece of property back here been deeded over to the town yet?
It has.
It has. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty certain I'm not because there's a ton of different records that state this over and over again. Was it not a requirement by D.R. Horton, a contractual obligation that if they deed that property to us, we put a septic tank on it? Is this if we decide to go on sewer, we're gonna have to deed it back to them? Or is this if 3 members of the council decide to push that they're gonna shove our town on the sewer, and we get shoved on the sewer, that D.R. Horton's gonna come knock on the door with a nice fat lawsuit over how we cheated them out of a big chunk of land that they said specifically they would only give us if we put a septic tank? I mean, are they gonna come back and say, well, yeah, just deed it back to us, we'll all be fine, we'll be friends?
The property was not deeded to us until the vote was made. Their belief was that the septic tank was going in. That's the sole purpose for giving us the property.
Yeah. And is that not a contractual obligation to the town as part of getting that property?
Legally, I couldn't speak, but I know their intention was, we're not going to give you the property until you're putting in a septic tank. Again, the council meeting, the special call council meeting, I don't know why 3 council members and most of the citizens that are in this room could figure it out. Party lines, I suppose. In my hand, I have, is there anybody else here? Did you raise your hand? No, I'm sorry, didn't mean to call you out. Carol.
I know y'all voted on this, but Tuesday, you and I sat out back. And this is when the 3 people didn't show up. And you stated to me that you were gonna make a recommendation to hire a sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was your words tonight,
Mhm.
is that you were gonna recommend hiring her back. So what changed? That's all I want to know.
Interview with Crystal Sellers.
Oh, how qualified is she right now?
That's a determination that the council made, Carol.
Just a question. Just a question.
Yeah. I appreciate your service, but the council has made a decision to hire based on those qualifications.
I understand that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the public with input?
I have something to say.
Yes, ma'am.
You mind if I not stand up?
No, you go right ahead.
My name is Joe Sharp, and I live at 13488 Ski Lake Road. I understand that there's been a problem at night with people ringing doorbells and trying to get in houses in our neighborhood. Has any reports been made on that?
The gentleman that was doing it was caught the other night and taken outside the city limits.
I did. That's the first I heard of it. Thank you for that. In that same vein, Peggy, you seen the dogs again? Animal Control reported that they had gotten the dogs. They were supposed to send the dogs that were killing animals in the neighborhood over around the ski lake. They were supposed to send me pictures. I've yet to get those pictures, but no report of the dogs. That's a good sign.
I haven't seen
Eddie found a half-closed toddler walking around in his yard today, and that would be, and then it's in the area that the dogs were running. That would have been, I don't need to describe what that could have been.
Mayor, and I have seen the animal control trucks right through town.
Yeah, they have confirmed with me a couple of times when they've been coming in, and then when they got the dogs.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that actually when I've seen it tonight.
Good. They actually got them on Saturday, which was surprising that they were up there on Saturday. All right, council input. We'll start at the end of the table with Jan.
I'm good, thank you.
Tony?
I would like to clarify something I said a minute ago. I know the chief just went out to his car to get a copy of the bill or whatever. Once we have financials, once we see how much money we have, how much money we have ended this fiscal year with, I think it would be appropriate that we reconsider that investment that you made.
My problem is that y'all didn't have a problem reimbursing his money tonight. And he did it, without permission.
You know,
And he actually violated what I've been told in the past as far as working on our vehicles because of liability and everybody, but y'all didn't have a problem with reimbursing George's money.
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about working on your own vehicles. Tonight is the first I've heard of that. We did authorize the repairs to the vehicle that we provided for him, and he turned in his mileage just like he did before we purchased him that vehicle. So we reimbursed his expenses just as if we would reimburse Carol for needing to go to Tuscaloosa and that sort of thing. So again, my suggestion would be that you hold on to those bills, and once we get our financial situation straightened out.
What about my financial situation?
You've had
That's $1,000 that I didn't have.
Thank you. Have you still your floor?
Appreciate those of you that come in and stick it out. We don't all agree. We probably never will agree, but it is nice to be able to have discussions, even although sometimes they get heated. I think we're never going to get anywhere toward any resolution if we don't talk to each other. And talk to each other honestly and ethically. And again, I appreciate those of you that stick with it, and very much appreciate Carol and the work that she has done. It's been extremely difficult for her over not just the last couple of months, but this entire calendar year, and it's, appreciate you, Carol.
Thank you.
Nancy?
Yeah, I have one thing. I know we've had some problems with, bills being late and stuff, and I know that, a couple months ago, the council voted, and I believe it was unanimously, for, a letter to be done, and be circulated amongst our vendors for Carol to be given the authority to simply ask questions. And I think some of our problems might have been resolved, or, you know, might not have been as complicated if that letter had already been signed. So, I mean, I know you've been a busy person, but here's a copy of the letter that was drawn up that never seemed to get signed. So, if you will, just, I mean, it's something the council voted on, and the council, you know, was asking you to do so. It just gives Carol the authority to simply ask questions about a bill. I mean, they won't tell her anything because she does, you know, nobody's giving her the authority. The council, it's the council's wishes that she be given that authority, and it simply requires your signature so that it can be circulated and she can simply ask questions.
Absolutely. I will sign one for each and every vendor with specifications as to that vendor and what information they can release. Before you speak, go back and look at the motion that is fully allowed in the motion. As an authorized person, this allows whoever the person's name here, in this case it would be Carol, to receive any information. They should not have the ability to do that. With this, you could receive information regarding backgrounds, anything. This is entirely too open. I will sign one for every vendor that we work with, specifying what information is to be released for that particular vendor. I have no problem with signing any of them.
Carol, was this letter worded by the motion? I mean, did you?
Yeah, but I'd had to change it because on there it says inquire and change, make a change, so I took to make the change off. And just, not to make the change, something else on there, I just said just to inquire. And that's all I was gonna do, but every time I call somebody, they go, oh, you're not on the bill, we can't give you any information. I said, that's fine. The only one that's done is Comcast, and Comcast wanted to make the change. I said, oh, no. I don't have the authority to make changes. I have no authority to do this. Do not make any changes. You need to talk to the mayor. So that's the only one that actually answered any of my questions was them.
Okay, well, the letter simply states.
Well, they called me, I didn't call them.
It is a fill-in-the-blank form so that the mayor would not have to sit and sign however many vendors that we have. He wouldn't have to sign those letters.
I don't mind signing.
In regard to the Town of Lakeview account with, you would fill in the blank, you would give them the account number. I am the mayor of the Town of Lakeview, and currently I am the only authorized user on the town's account with you. Effective immediately, please add Carol Buchanan, acting temp/town clerk, as an authorized person only to inquire about invoices with no authority to make changes. Feel free to contact the town clerk, Carol Buchanan, if further information is needed. Now, if that's the way the motion was stated, for her to have inquiries, there's no reason not to sign that.
Get the motion and we'll look at it. I have no problem in signing it if that is specifically the motion.
Nancy, as I remember, if we're talking about the vendors and we're only talking about the bills, then if Carol were to call our background screening vendor to ask them for a copy of the bill, she could get the bill. If she were to call our background screening vendor and ask them for a copy of a report, she was not authorized to have the report.
The last one I saw did not say invoices.
My turn. If she called the drug testing vendor and asked for a copy of the bill for the last 10 bills, they would give her a copy of the bill and not the actual reports.
Or it could be the water bill. Somehow the water bill got misplaced and the next one came in with a balance due on it.
Let me ask
Well,
you
she
this.
wouldn't be able to
I
get
mean-
it. Right.
Me personally, I wouldn't sign a blank form, but you can fill out all the vendors and he can sign them. I mean, to me, I don't think you'd sign your name and hand something to blank. But there should be a list of all our vendors.
And the motion didn't require me to sign a blank
I mean,
form.
power, water, Visa, the background people. I mean, everybody's got a name. I mean, there should be a list that we have of our vendors, and it can be plugged in on the letter.
Yeah, I have no problem with
Instead
that.
of, I agree with that for our vendors, but there should be a name of our vendor.
And it was gonna make it easier for Carol to transact business for the town, for the new clerk.
Why don't we go ahead and make 20 copies of it right now, with the names of the vendors?
While she's looking that up, we'll go on down the line. Nancy, anything else right now? We'll come back to this.
Going back to what George Pickle said about the ethics and stuff, I'll just say I had a list of some stuff, and based on what he said, I guess in order to be in compliance or to keep me in the clear, I guess I need to go ahead and submit what information that I had questions about, and should they find it irrelevant, so be it, but I think I will send in some information that I had just jotted down.
Okay. Anything?
Before we proceed, can you get the paperwork from John Riley and on this? Would you give me a call so I can come get a package, please?
Verizon paper, yes, absolutely. I'll make note of that before.
Oh, one other thing. Also, several months ago, we voted for Carol to move into what I call the cubby house. As of today, that still hasn't been done for various reasons. I had asked her the other day what was the holdup, and she had said that she needed to contact VTech again to come out and make sure that, I don't know why they didn't do it the first time, I have no idea.
Apparently the promotion page is missing.
The motion page is
Yep,
missing.
something's been taken off my desk or something. So it's not in there with
We've
the
got
other
this.
page.
It's not gonna be a problem if we're gonna be specific.
That's the original write-up.
Okay. Tell the council again what you needed to contact VTech for.
Move those
before
computers,
moving.
they got to make sure the computer's up and running, they got to move the phone. They're going to get a phone guy out here because they're using the phone line for the fax machine and the postage machine. So, and my computer's got to be moved to make sure it's up and running.
And they prefer to move it so
They
that
prefer
it's
to move
connected
it because
properly.
make sure it's going to be connected to my printer and make sure the guy that's coming in, they're going to bring the phone guy with them and make sure my phone's up and running.
Do you happen to remember if we used all the allocated money that was from the board? We used all of that?
Yep.
Has he given you any indication of a?
No, he said just call when I get ready.
So we don't even have an estimate of what?
No.
Do you remember ballpark what they charged last time?
$400, something like that. To reroute that and get it up and running.
Do you remember what their hourly rate is?
I can call on Monday. Well, wait a minute. I got court Tuesday, so nothing in the town hall is gonna be done Monday or Tuesday, because I have not got my court system set up. I haven't even touched court from the last one.
I'd like to make a motion for, prior to the next council meeting, that Carol try to get an estimate of how much it would cost for them to come out and make sure all of that work is done. It's, you know, that's a motion that we made a long time ago to get removed, and it's been several months, so we need to complete that motion.
Estimate from VTAC to move money.
Yes, to finish the move.
Do we need a motion for that, or could you just do it?
I thought you could have just gotten.
What's the estimate on
You don't think it requires a motion
it?
that,
I don't.
and we can't keep making motions and decisions and then them not be carried out, so. Just trying to follow up and make sure we finish that. I'm done.
Brad? Thank you, Nancy. Vivian?
I'd like to know if Carol needs, since whatever that, Miss Self is hired, possibly.
Yeah.
That if Carol needs extra time to spend on her court stuff, we need to bring her in for it.
Say that again?
Does Carol need more time to prepare for her court duties?
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen tomorrow. I got plans for tomorrow.
No, I mean,
Monday, I'm gonna try and set up Tuesday morning, because court's at 5 o'clock. I got people walking in and out of here to pay probation on Mondays. I have people coming in and out to pay, to get permits.
so you don't have any time.
I don't have any time. I'm actually going on 4 months on warrants that have not been issued.
That
I
creates a
got
legal issue.
45, no, we got a year and a day to issue a warrant on somebody. I got 45 warrants in there that need to be issued.
In the future, if we do have the town clerk to work out, that we are gonna present the job to, if you need more time, will you let us know?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
And thank you very much for everything that you've done. It's been a heartache on all of us. Thank you for coming. And I just wish that we could work better together. When I text or email the mayor, I wish he had given me a response. Just a short one. That's all I ask. It's just answer me in the future.
Anything else, Vivian?
That's it.
Fantastic. I will say again, if you text me, you're going to get a response.
I did. Got approved.
Vivian, I do have a new job. I do not have access to that email during the day. If you text me, I will respond to you. It may not be immediate, but I will respond. That is the best way to reach me, or call me and leave a voicemail. Thanks everybody for coming. I know it was a long meeting. We did accomplish something. We do have some assistance coming for Carol, provided the requirements of employment are met. I hope everybody will support her and give her the assistance that she needs.
If you'll give me a copy, if you'll give me the letter back, I'll make sure that they, copies are made and account numbers and vendors' names are put in there, so you can sign all of them.
Thank you for speaking right over me once again, Nancy.
You're welcome.
That's a good example of working together, isn't it?
I believe she just offered to assist.
Motion to adjourn.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is going to perform half the background check, the drug check, and the references check? Is that going to be you, Mayor? That's all I wanted to know. Who was going to do that?
We didn't even discuss the price, the payment. How much are we get off of?
thought is what we discussed in there.
I don't believe we do.
I don't think we did.
Whatever the amount was, we never came up with the exact amount.
Mine, just leave it.
But we're going to need that.
You was told to turn it off there.
Too bad.
Yeah. I'll make notes, not a problem.
Okay.
But we can't extend the job offer until we decided on amount.
I thought it was the base of what the,
We don't know, I don't think Shirley started at the.
We didn't say that. That's
We
not-
we didn't discuss it.
but we didn't say, that's not how we said it when we discussed it. In there, we didn't say to go back to what someone else,
We didn't discuss it.
we were saying that rate of pay. That's what I took it as.
I think that was actually just discussing what that person had left. Yeah, not so much what we would bring them in at. That figure's gonna have to be determined before we can extend the job offer.
Would you want to go ahead and do the other first?
Most recent clerk's rate of pay.
That's what it should be.
That was all agreed upon.
What Tyler's pay?
Do we agree that's what it should be?
Yes.
I would think that would be the starting salary, right?
Yep.
All right. I will take care of references. Drug screen, background. Okay.
Do you remember what company we used for background?
Yes, it's ESS, Employment,
Screening Service.
ESS, Employment Screening Services. Okay, once again, thanks everybody. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
That motion to call for a special